Good morning, YouTube. UUQ 4x16x44 adjustable optical, 99.99 Canadian, Amazon.ca. This is an update review. Initially, first impression, yay! Main review, because it was working good, hey, it seems to be a really good scope. Well, it blew up. I went to the range the other night with my buddy, and well, I started shooting, and all of a sudden my CCI ammo doesn't want to work anymore. I'm like, huh? Anyway, so I finally gave up after a lot of rounds, and all of a sudden this thing, before I gave up though, started just all of a sudden shooting far left. Like, what the hell? Didn't touch anything, and nothing's that far out of whack for the wrong ammo for a gun, like ever, especially if you're already on paper. Anyhow, well, it did, but it did somehow bring its way back to the board, and then after that, everything just fell apart. So I gave up and pulled out my other gun, and I did have some issues with it, trying to get some ammo together to run with that, and time was running out too, so I really didn't get a chance to actually get the right ammo going in my 64F, but my Mark II, on the other hand, well, so when I got home, I put the bore sighter back on, and I started to check calibration, you know, and well, up and down is still there, but left and right wouldn't move at all. Didn't matter how far I turned that dial in either direction. Yep, it was the laser, the reticle was not moving with the laser at all to realign. So the scope died. So 2 out of 5 instead of what I gave it before, because, well, it can't handle a 22 LR apparently. Yet, when I saw a video on this exact scope, the guy was shooting it on a high caliber rifle, and it was holding. And it's like, okay, well, then again, we had the same thing with me, where at first it was working fine the first 2 times I had it out. You know, I went from a quarter size group in the bullseye to less than that, but still, I had work to do, and I ran out of time that day because it was hot as hell outside and I couldn't even see anymore because my glasses wouldn't stay clean. My shirt was full of sweat, and it's like, yeah, let's kind of do this trick, and yeah, it's worse, I can't see. Give up, that's it, we're done. Too much heat anyway for any of us. So, but at least it did better. But then third time out, that's when all holy hell broke loose with the scope, and the windage somehow blew out on this thing, and it's like, never seen or heard of that happening. And the reticle was fine. There's nothing wrong. The reticle didn't shatter. But something inside definitely let go if left and rights aren't working anymore at all. So anyway, I'm still having a lot of grief. But I got my refund process going. And that thing got sent back. Went and got a used Bushnell for 60 bucks. That thing, well, it has movement. But, well, the windage is kind of whacked on it where I don't get enough windage out of it. And so, yeah, it was all the way out, and I still couldn't hit center. Now, we're not done. So I took that one back because I got it at the pawn shop, and I know the owner, so it's okay. So he lent me a leaper scope to try, but we tried to bore sight check it on the pellet gun that it was on, and we didn't have enough upward travel. Like, it would be easy to get to the center, but then when you're going upward travel to go down, well, the reticle wouldn't go up high enough. So I thought it was a height issue, because I don't know everything about scopes, right? All I know is if it goes all the way up and all the way down, all the way left, all the way right, and the reticle's not damaged, the scope should work, in theory. So, but this is a leaper scope. They don't break. Kevy loves these scopes. I've had a few of them, and I still have a Leaper's Bug Buster that is invaluable. There's nothing wrong with it. Full travel, up, down, left, right. It's been through a number of different guns, and even taking the boost from my Savage 64 semi-auto, it still is holding fine. It's not a problem. And the scope that came with my gun has never been fired from my gun, from my Mark II. It's that Weaver's scope, 3x9x40. Anyway, well, it's back on there because I have to use something for now because I got to get something going regardless, but I'm going to be stuck at 50 yards to avoid the parallax problem, because apparently that's the fixed parallax on that Weaver scope, which, by the way, turns out is made by Bushnell. Congratulations, Bushnell, for yet another bad product. We'll see how bad. Anyway, but I did find out I had a bore sighter issue where my back shaft was a little loose, which could explain why I was having such a hard time with the 64F, period. So now that this is tight as a drum nail again, because apparently I guess they can loosen up over years of use, which this thing's been through a lot of use over the years. Anyway, that's fixed. Recalibrated right now at 10 yards. I'm going to calibrate the guns probably tonight or tomorrow night, both to 25 yards outside, because I'm going to be on a 25-yard range and at 10 yards. Well, that's going to be an interesting impact thing, so I'd rather just have them at 25 and then have hopefully minor adjustments from there. Just got to figure out the ammo. But the leaper scope that I borrowed is one that I've owned before on other guns. I bought them brand new, and I don't abuse my scopes. I don't overcrank shit, none of that. And if you do overcrank windages or elevations, you can bugger things up inside, which I'm suspecting is what happened to the Bushnell, which is also what has happened to the sleeper scope that I borrowed. And so I got to let him know that, yeah, this is definitely a bum scope, because it acts exactly the same way on my rifle with low profile rings, which there's really not much above the center. You know, as far as the elevation going up to go down goes, well, it's in the same exact spot. So it doesn't really matter how high your scope is off your gun. That's not an issue. The scope is an issue in this case. Somebody's abused that scope on the elevation side, definitely, and a little bit on the windage, but not that bad. But anyway, so that's another bummer. Really sucks. So now I gotta find another brand new scope within my budget that's got an AO, and hopefully I can get it in time. But I don't think I'm gonna get one before Friday, so I'm just gonna have to try my Weaver one for now. Maybe save my money for a better, higher end scope, or hopefully somebody gets a friggin' leaper scope in that's the right length to work with my gun. It's just a real pain. But and you know, I've replaced the base plates on my Mark II to take away more than half of that lean, but apparently lean doesn't matter either. That's a whole other thing. So now there is no bent barrel issue here. I've checked the barrels, straight edged them all the way around the perimeters, and even though they're tapered, so you won't get it perfectly, you know, the barrels are not bent. The crowns are fine. The rifling is fine. All that is fine. So I was telling another friend about it, and he says, well, let's hustle, get a new gun. I says, the gun is not the problem, okay? And you shouldn't be that quick to judge. If you have a known scope, because I told him, I says, I have 2 scopes that I guarantee you have full run, left, right, up, down, no hassles. So it's the scopes that are the problem, okay? But it's like, if you're going to judge your gun, you best be finding a known good scope and checking that, because that'll definitely tell you, right? If it's a known good scope and it travels perfectly on a gun period, but it doesn't go on yours, well, guess what? Then you probably do have some kind of an issue with that gun. It could be the mounts are this way or that way. I mean, if it's an elevation issue, obviously that's going to be a bent barrel. It's called barrel droop, either up or down. It's going to be that. I mean, I understand a lot about firearms because of 50 years of shooting pellet guns, so I'm not a stranger to guns by any means. So even I am not that quick to judge a gun, all right? I judge, in this case, the scope. And when you get 2 in a row that are exhibiting, you know, opposite things, but they're still, it's the scopes, especially when I got known good scopes that, like I said, even the Weaver one that came with my Mark II, that thing, left, right, all the way, up, down, all the way, right? My Leaper's Bug Buster on my 64F Savage, left, right, up, down, all the way. These other scopes ain't cutting the turkey. They can't do it. And then we blew this one where the up and down was still working great, but the left and rights, well, there was none anymore. It just didn't function. So anyway, a little bit of my rant. So don't let anybody try and say, it's your barrel that's the problem. Just get a new gun. It'd be less hassle. you know, get the gun replaced. Well, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with the gun. So the warranty's not going to work because there's nothing wrong with the gun. Duh. You know what I mean? I like I said, I do know guns very well, okay? And I am an air gun expert when it comes to pellet guns and BB guns. So rifles, as far as I'm concerned, are rifles. 22 is 22, 25 is 25, and I know how these things are built and put together. I'm a really deadly, wicked sniper shooter with an air gun. With these firearms, well, I'm not so good yet. I gotta get the damn things dialed in first. So, and that's a scope thing that we're running into, because we've checked everything else, we've verified everything else. It's the scopes, okay? Like, just in case somebody decides to try and pipe up and say, maybe you got a bent barrel, or maybe this is wrong, or maybe that is wrong. It's like, no, all that stuff's already been checked, verified, and re-verified, and yep, sorry, you lose on that one. It's a scope issue. So, because I do have known good scopes that do function perfect. So, however, I just don't like the Weaver one because it is prefixed at 50 yards. I need 25 yards. And it has no adjustable optical, which sucks even worse because they're garbage scopes in my books, okay? Stuff with adjustable optical, perfect. But you got to find a good one, and apparently this is not such a good one. All right, so I'm going to say buy it at your own risk, do what you want, but I am bit once, twice shy. I'm moving on to another brand of scope out there, okay? And I'm not going to go cheaper even in UUQ because I got like $50 scopes. So I'm like, if $100 blew up on a 22 LR, how fast do you think we're going to blow up a $50 one, right? So anyway, Diana's got a scope I might think about. I just got to wait for my refund to go back on the card. It's been driving me nuts. So hopefully we can get things fixed up. I'm going to the range on Friday. I got my membership papers and card and all that today. So Friday, the weather's still supposed to be good. And if it stays that way, I'm going to go to the range Friday. And I'm going to spend about probably 5 or 6 hours there. Okay, like all frickin' day. I'm leaving here at like 7 a.m. I'll be on the range by 8:20 shooting. Okay, and we'll do some video too once I can get my gun sighted a bit. So, but yeah, this thing, I don't know. I saw one video, but I didn't check his channel for other videos to see if he blew it up. But it held 0 for him, so I figured if it can handle high caliber, what's a 22 LR gonna do it? Apparently, explode the shit inside. There you go. So, I'm out of here on this one, but I'd give it about a 2 and 5. I mean, it is a nice scope for looks and everything. It's got some good quality rings. But they're not worth $100. It is well put together and everything, except for the internals don't want to stay together. So, yeah. Literally, I'd like to say stay away from it, but it is kind of your thing. I may have gotten just a bad one that showed its ugly head third time out and 200 rounds in, but, well, who knows, right? But I want to try something different. It's just the way I operate, that if I have too many issues, that's it. I'm going to try something different and better luck next time. So, in the meantime, though, stay tuned because we are going to the range, like I said, on Friday if weather permits. And we're going to do some videos for you guys. So, and I'm going to see if I can deal with that friggin' 50-yard parallax on that Weaver thing and take it back down to 25 yards after and see how bad it's going to be funky on the eyes. But I need a real scope, you know. I really do. At least I got a good scope on my other gun, but you know, it's the bolt action, right? They're more accurate than semi-autos any day of the week. So, but anyway, bye.